me, nigga.
Let me start off like this. I'm not above a rap beef. In fact, I'm okay with it. I like it. I like it when two people who are competitive go up against each other. I like it even when it gets personal and messy. I love Story of Adidon. That shit was some of the messiest shit I've ever seen, but it was great. I loved it. I'm not anti-rap beef. I'm not anti a bit of toxicity in my rap beef. But I understand where Cole's coming from.
Me, right? So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that shit that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my fucking life, right?
Let me also say, I'm not the biggest Cole fan, so it doesn't seem like I'm just here trying to like suck up to an artist I love. I do like Cole a lot, especially the past few years. I feel like he's been getting really into his bag. He's been really just focusing on getting better and better, and he's had some of my favorite guest verses over the past few years. But I've never considered myself like a big J. Cole fan. When Like That dropped, initially I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like we're entering a new era where it's gonna be Cole going up against Kendrick. It's gonna be Drake going against Kendrick. We're gonna see like actually seeing like them sharpen each other and like go at each other. I was excited for it. 7-minute Drill dropped, and I was actually like, I liked it at first. It kind of waned on me a little over time, and like realizing that like he didn't go as hard as he could have, and he was very clearly like pulling punches for a lot of it. So I still think 7-minute Drill is a good song, but it's very clearly like his heart's not in it. The more I think about it, the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, oh, you genuinely didn't want to do this. So now Cole's going viral again, but for apologizing, and that's in quotes because he didn't really apologize. Like he didn't say like, oh, Kendrick, I'm sorry I did that. He didn't apologize. I don't know why people are saying he's apologizing, but for the sake of simplicity, let's say, sure, he apologized to Kendrick. He basically said, that's not who I am. For me to disrespect your discography when we all know that you've made amazing music, to me that just doesn't sit right. And so I'm hearing people saying like Cole is soft for this, that he's folding under pressure. I think this is honestly one of the most real things he's done, and this is one of the most real things you can do as a rapper and as an artist and just as a person, is just stand by your morals despite what other people are gonna say. From what Cole said when he was on stage, the only reason he dissed Kendrick in the first place was to save face. Was because everyone was blowing up his phone like, what are you gonna do? You gotta do something, you gotta do something, you gotta do something. So for him to come out now and be like, no, I didn't want to do that, and I shouldn't have done that, and I'm gonna be real to myself and I'm gonna get rid of it. That's the realest thing you can do. What was soft was not him apologizing, even though he didn't really apologize. I don't think he should apologize. What was soft was not him taking the song back and saying he regretting it. What was soft of him was to fold under the pressure of people trying to tell him how to be a rapper and how to be a man by putting out a diss track that he didn't want to do. He didn't want to diss Kendrick. He said it himself, like he has love for him, he has love for discography. That's just not what he wants to do. And look, at the end of the day, like he was put into a situation where it's like he was trying to bridge gaps. He was trying to, he was trying to show love to Kendrick and to Drake in first person shooter. And then he's put in a situation where he feels like if he doesn't reply, he's a bitch. But I think honestly, the best thing he could have done was like what he did on stage, was just basically like, listen, this is not the era I'm in right now. This is not what I'm in for. I have respect for Kendrick. I have respect for him. I have respect for his discography. I'm not trying to like go at him over nothing. And listen, again, I'm not the biggest Cole fan, but I can recognize he can be nasty when he wants to be. All right, 1985. It's not like the most insane diss track ever, but it's pretty up there, honestly. Because what he does is like, he's not just disrespecting people like Lil Pump. He's not just disrespecting them. He's also like giving them advice and genuinely trying to help. But like, he's basically like, it's almost like a this is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you type deal. And the way that he literally sons him by like putting him in a position where like, you're my child and I'm trying to give you advice on how to move forward, but also don't ever in your life disrespect me. That to me was sick, but he can't do that with Kendrick. Kendrick isn't someone that he needs to give advice to. When Cole is in that mode where he wants to be nasty, he can be nasty, but he approaches it in a way that's different from Kendrick. And I think that the fact that he recognized that in himself and saying like, going at someone that I respect in that level is not healthy and it's not me and it messes with who I am and how I perceive myself, I have a lot more respect for him to say that publicly in order to secure his peace and secure how he feels about himself, versus putting out a diss track that, let's be honest, the more you listen to it, especially now with this context, you could tell his heart was not in that shit. He did not want to do that. He had no interest in beefing with Kendrick. And I think a lot of people are misinterpreting it, because it's not in the sense that he's afraid of going at Kendrick. Like, if Kendrick got real personal, real nasty, and did like some wild shit, I think Cole would have unleashed on him. I don't think he would necessarily win in a beef between him and Kendrick, but it would have been competitive. It would have been competitive. If he really let off, then it would have been interesting. But that's just not what happened. Kendrick was mostly going at Drake. Cole caught a couple of strays, but mostly like with Drake, Kendrick was saying like, your music sucks. You're not as good as me. You're never gonna be as good as me. Your last album sucked. You don't have the same discography as me. You're never going to be on the same level as me. Do not ever in your life compare yourself to me. With Cole, the only real strays was basically just like, all right, you say that you're the best, let's see. You say you're the best, let's see. Prove to me that you're a problem. Like, those are definitely aimed at Cole. Those lines are aimed at Cole. But let's be honest, he wasn't coming for his life or anything. He was not trying to cut Cole's head off. Those were strays when he was mostly aiming at Drake, and Cole got in the way for being around him. And a lot of people, they come at this, they're like, well, this is hip hop, this is hip hop, this is hip hop. Look, we can't, in the same breath, talk to these news organizations who are saying hip hop is just violence, hip hop is just toxic masculinity, and be like, oh no, hip hop is more than that. Hip hop's about self-expression. Hip hop could be about spreading peace and love. And then the second we're away from them being like, all right, but this is hip hop, so that means when someone comes at you, even if it's not crazy, you got to go crazy at them. No, Cole has a different version of hip hop. Cole does a different version of hip hop than Kendrick. I like the nasty beef stuff. I love it. I love Story of Adidon. I love Hit 'Em Up. That kind of shit where you're disrespectful, that has a time and a place. That is how people wanted Cole to come at Kendrick. But let's be honest, Kendrick did not do anything to Cole that would have resorted to that. I think personally that, yeah, if Kendrick had went at Cole in a way where he was being ultra disrespectful, talking about him personally, Cole would have been a lot more within his rights to go crazy at him. But people are expecting Cole to like try to ruin Kendrick's career over some strays. Like, that's just not the type of time he's on anymore. I don't think he's ever on that type of time. I think Cole genuinely just wants to be the best version of himself. And as corny as that sounds, that's just the kind of journey that he's been on. You know, he's not out here starting random beef for no reason. You know, he really is just trying to better himself and become the best rapper he can. And not in like a I'm gonna tear other people down kind of way, but just in an I'm gonna keep practicing and getting better and getting better and getting better. And that's one reason why out of the big three, even though like, you know, motherfucker big three. Anyway, out of the big three, I like Kendrick's work the most. I think Kendrick is the most talented, but I think I respect Cole the most because J. Cole knows who he is. You know, a lot of Kendrick's life and music is about the duality of this good kid that he's trying to be, where he's trying to give back to his city, he's trying to not be toxic, he's trying to be a positive influence, and the mad city that's almost corrupted him into being like this like toxic, aggressive person, him trying to figure that out. With Cole, he's had a similar upbringing. Like, Cole also was a good kid in a mad city. He grew up in like a crazy environment, but he has that duality still, but nowhere near as much as Kendrick is. You know, there's a reason why Cole hasn't made like a Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And that's because he's probably done that same amount of work on himself in private. And now he's at a point where it's like, he's at peace. He doesn't need to be trying to figure himself out on wax because he already did it, you know? I think like out of, you know, Kendrick and Cole, I think Cole has done the work to be what Kendrick wants to be. And that's why out of those three, I respect Cole the most. You know, Kendrick is like obviously the best lyrically, the best discography, and that inner conflict lends itself to really good music when it comes to Kendrick, you know. I respect the fact that Cole was willing to stand up for himself and say like, I don't care what you guys think about this. I don't care that hip hop blogs are gonna roast me. And he knew that was gonna happen. He knew this was gonna happen. He knew that like hip hop blogs are gonna like roast him, gonna eat him alive for doing the quote unquote soft thing of taking back a diss track. But at the end of the day, this is the realest thing he could have done because it wasn't him. His heart wasn't in it. He doesn't care about that. Whether that's, if it's you or me in that situation, maybe we all would have handled it differently, but this is who he is. He's a peaceful person. He'll give smoke if he gets smoke, but he didn't really get smoke, let's be honest. Kendrick was coming for Drake, and Cole just happened to be in the car with him. But that was it. That was it. So, to wrap it all up, Cole is not soft for taking back the diss track. Cole was soft for putting the diss track out that he didn't want to do. This is the realest thing he could have done. So, my respect for Cole has only gone up from this. What do you guys think?